I want to kind of go over like what is then their belief. Like I would say if I could distill 3 pillars, and I'll just go over this super quickly, and I'll probably maybe I'll have to do a video elsewhere. Maybe we'll do this again or something like
Yeah.
that. But essentially, to very distill, so we can get back to kind of the false teachers and wolves. One, essentially, the side B ideology is essentially saying that gay is immutable. I can't change. I'm just gay. I tried to change. These will never go away, and I just need to grit and bear it. And it's kind of a very dark, like Wes Hill. He even admits his first book, Washed and Waiting, he would write it differently because there was just no hope in it.
Mm.
And we should never sugarcoat things, but we have joy,
Yeah.
real joy in the midst of our trials. And Wes totally missed that. It was,
Yeah.
and he admits that now.
That's good.
But so gay is immutable. It can't change. I even know people who will say that they're going to be gay in eternity, which is
Wow.
crazy,
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah.
And this also gets to this whole crazy phrase, mixed orientation marriage. I always tell people, marriages don't have orientations.
Right. Yeah.
And who are we to like attach to our marriage our sin struggle?
Right.
Should a person say, I have a porn struggling marriage,
Right.
or
Yeah.
we have a lustful or an adulterous struggling marriage? No.
Yeah.
That should not be broadcasted out. And so I hope that those are using that terminology would take just the same thing with a vinyl record, throw in the same trash pile as that. That's not biblical. But it's because they believe, and people will say, well, I'm not attracted to my husband. Like, these people, individual speakers and writers will say, I'm not attracted to my husband. And not to say, if you're not sexually attracted, fine. But I hope that you have respect and honor and are attracted to his godliness,
Yeah.
to his character. That's so dishonoring to your spouse and the Lord.
Mm.
So that one, gay is immutable. Another one, gay can be neutral and even good. So Wesley Hill on his Spiritual Friendship website wrote an article that kind of, I don't know if it went viral, but it was a while ago. He said, gay is sanctifiable. So being gay is sanctifiable. There's good things that come out of gay. That's not biblical. That's a very, that distorts the consequences
What
of
is
the
he?
fall.
Because that's so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, what is he defining as gay then? Is that like is he attaching certain stereotypes around certain things that gay men tend to do and like?
Broadens it out so much to include things that are not part of sexuality.
Right.
So in his book, he even talks about how his friend says that, and I can't remember exactly how it said, but something like he's a friendship genius. Like he knows how good to be. Friendship is one thing, but that's not a part of sexuality.
Yeah.
Because if my desire to be good friends with the man is part of sexuality, if your desire to be close to one of your Christian sisters in the Lord is considered sexuality, then you're bisexual.
Yeah.
My mom would be lesbian. I mean, she, loves her sisters in the Lord and wants to be close to them. That does not make her a lesbian. So they're really blurring the lines, which adds to this duplicity and equivocation, which we talked about in the last episode. But so they think that gay and can be neutral and even good. So, that's what he's getting to. He's saying that my gayness can help me, love people better, et cetera, which no, that's not defining the effects of the fall. Every part of this aspect, homosexuality, is rooted in original sin and our sin nature. And then third thing is, because of all this, you can't change, which is untrue. See, this is where it comes down to, this is a different gospel.
Yeah.
I can change. Maybe not on this side of glory, but definitely on the other.
But little changes even every day.
Absolutely.
It's like we've all experienced that in our life.
If there's no change in intensity or in frequency of your sin struggle, how are you being sanctified?
Yeah.
And if that's talking about progressive sanctification. So, they say, I can't change, which also kind of applies a character of God. He's immutable, not our sexuality.
Yeah.
But the second, that it can be neutral or good. But also, so therefore the solution are what people call spiritual friendships or these covenanted relationships. And we'll talk about this a little bit more, that because they're so woe is me. And often, people say they have a bit more faith than, the rest of us, that they have to form these deep, deep covenanted friendships. Here's the problem. Friendships aren't meant to have a covenant.
Right.
Marriages are. Well, people are like, well, what about David and Jonathan? Do people realize never in the Old Testament or the New Testament are David and Jonathan called friends? Ever. Never once. They're called brothers. Because and that covenant is not about friendship. It's actually it's talking about it's a socio-political and familial covenant that Jonathan, who was supposed to be king after Saul died, said, "No, you're supposed to be king." That's why he gave his royal robe to David, and his sword and his shield, etc. And then they did a familial vow that if you die, you're going to take care of my family. If I die, etc. And that's exactly what David did. And that's what that's talking about. It's not a covenant of friendships. And I wish people would actually just read all that's out there on side B in spiritual friendship, because spiritual friendship is actually from a Cistercian, about 10th, 11th century monk called Alred of Rivaux, who was a monk, which is not biblical.
Right.
And so monks were lonely. So what was their solution? So this guy, Alred of Rivaux, advocated that monks should have these covenanted friendships, and they would even have ceremonies, or they would have this love that was really deep. And then I think he read some of Augustine's works and kind of then corrected, but still, some say that he was gay. There's no evidence of that. But now people are taking that and saying that's what we as gay people need. Here's the problem. Number one, we're not monks. Number two, what that was written for was not people who struggled with homosexuality. That is the last thing that people need, is a covenanted friendship that essentially almost replaces, or supposed to almost take the place of marriage.